Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited today because Christmas came early to me this year. I just received this beautiful gift from the Sterkowski company. It's the brand new limited edition hat inspired by the Second World War history, the famous Spitfire aircraft and the overall allyship between Poland and England during the Battle of Britain. I can't wait to see the hat in the flesh, so let's just open the box right now. Drum roll please. The hat is hidden behind this beautiful packing paper. There is a little thank you note, which is nice. There is some information about the heritage of the brand, materials they're using, and about the craftsmanship. I can see, I'm gonna love it already. I can see the beautiful tweed with the herringbone pattern, fantastic color. Let's have a closer look. We have another Sterkowski logo here printed on the foil. I must say, straight out of the gate, I love this fabric. According to what's written on the website, the color palette is something between the brown and the gray, and the gray tones are supposed to represent the gray of the steel of the aircraft, and the brown tones are referring to the earth. In general, the whole palette is supposed to resemble the hues of the British weather, and I think they represent it perfectly well. So we have this first tag informing us this is a limited edition. It's not the part of the regular collection. It was made specially for the 85th anniversary of the Battle of Britain. There is also this punch card for the size, punched with the hole. I think that's super cool. It reminds me of those old punch cards used by factory workers to clock in and out of work, so I think that's a great touch. The second tag is about the fabric used in this hat. The fabric used is Yorkshire tweed. It's woven by the company Abraham Moon and Sons. It's a very old company. I think it's the oldest mill in the UK. It's still using a vertical mill process. It's a very old-fashioned, very old-school way of making the fabric. They do everything in-house from start to finish, from yarn to the end product. They make the fabric since 1837. So in 12 years from now, it will be 200 years of tradition. I love this symbolic because this hat is supposed to celebrate Polish and British allyship during the Second World War, during the Battle of Britain specifically. So if you consider the fact that this hat is handmade in Poland by the company that have 100 years of tradition in hat making, using the fabric that's made by English company with almost 200 years of tradition in the business. So yeah, I think that's a match made in heaven. In the last tag we have attached to our hat, we have the size of the hat, we have the quality control and size control stamp. Every time before they ship the hat, they check if it's the right size and if there isn't any flaws or anything, and they put a stamp. It's personalized, so you can see who was the actual employee who checked your hat. So this one says Radek. That's the name of the guy who made sure that the quality and the size of the hat is perfect. I love stuff like that. I love this personal touch. And the last thing we have inside is this special pin. We can put it on the hat itself, or we can put it on the lapel of our jackets. Actually, the jacket I'm wearing today, it's also made with exactly the same tweed, just different color, so I think that's a nice coincidence. Also, the watch I'm wearing today, it's based on the Second World War aviation watches. Also, the lady who designed this watch is a granddaughter of the Royal Air Force pilot, so I think that's the perfect attire for today's special unboxing. I also love how both the colors of the special tag and the string are the Royal Air Force and the Union Jack colors, so that's a very nice touch. As you can see, attention to detail is on the highest level, so chapeau bas. So here we have this beautiful special pin with the Royal Air Force and the Sterkowski 1926 logo and the Spitfire logo, because this hat is dedicated to the Spitfire airplane. It's a regular pin, like a badge. You can put it on the hat somewhere on the side. Inside we have a cotton lining, and the brim of the hat is trimmed with this natural leather. I really like this touch because majority of the hats, they usually don't have that. It's not only adding a nice visual detail, but also it's quite practical. If you have a hat with any sort of a visor, this is a quite fragile point because you have the fabric that's stretched on like a sharp edge. If you use the hat for many years and you use your fingers to hold to the visor, or you place it on the tables and there is a constant friction, lining on the brim of the hat, there is always a risk that the fabric can tear. So I think having this extra layer of protection here will preserve the hat for much longer. I don't think it's a deal breaker. It makes it stand out a little bit more. I think addition of a little leather element really goes well with the theme of a pilot inspired hat, because if you think about vintage pilot gear, you think about like a leather jacket, leather gloves, stuff like that. So I think that's like a perfect little detail. Let's see that beautiful lining inside. Wow, this is amazing. The entire lining of the hat is a big Royal Air Force logo with the Spitfire logo inside, with the actual image of the plane. There is a caption informing us that's a limited series. I really love the detail inside. I think it looks awesome, even though a lining, it's not something that you're able to show off. It's your little personal pleasure. Every time you take off the hat and put it back on, you can appreciate this cool artwork. To be 100% honest with you, I will probably baby this hat a lot, and I won't be wearing it very often because I cherish it already. I think it will be reserved for only very special occasions, especially considering the fact that it's limited, and once it's gone for good, and it won't come back in this form ever again. So that makes it a very valuable collector's item. Yeah, let's pop it on my head and let's see how it looks. Actually, the hat I'm wearing today also comes from the Sterkowski collection. It's the same model called Shelby. However, this one is the limited edition and this one is like the regular part of the collection, round herringbone pattern. And it's made from different fabric because this one is the Harris Tweed. It's like this legendary Scottish wool material. And this one, as said before, is the Abraham Moon Yorkshire Tweed. I also have this other hat from Sterkowski. It's also the Shelby Newsboy hat. It's also made of the Harris Tweed, like a salt and pepper color. In the description below, you can find the link to the review of this hat, and in that particular video I explain more about the overall history of the brand and the Newsboy caps in general, all that good stuff. So if you are interested after watching this one, you can check out the other one as well. Okay, enough chatting, let me just take off this one and let's try on the Shelby Spitfire limited edition. It seems a little bit more snug than my other Shelby hats, a little bit less baggy, but I like the change because it's something different. Let me remove the glasses. I love that brown and gray herringbone pattern. I think this hat gonna fit pretty much every outfit because it's pretty much like a monochromatic scheme. So I think literally majority of the suits of jackets, leather jackets, denim jackets, suit jackets, tweed, all sorts of different colors, you're gonna be able to mix and match with loads of different options with this one. I love that leather trimming on the peak of the hat. Let's see how it looks from every direction. It almost feels like this new hat makes me faster, like it's more aerodynamic. It feels like I can go faster, if you know what I mean. I think if you found yourself watching this video, you probably know quite a lot about the Newsboy hats already, but for those who don't know, this style of hat originated late 19th, early 20th century. Originally, this kind of hat was a typical headgear for the working class, for the workers. At a certain point in history, it was even mandatory to wear those hats, I think on Sundays or something like that. You need to fact check me on this one because I'm not quite sure, but I think I read something about the hats being mandatory. Later on, those hats transition into the fashion industry and the more upper echelon high-class communities started to wear them as well. Majority of cool things in fashion industry usually come from the working class background, very often from military background, like the NATO watch straps, for example, or like the M65 field jacket, stuff like that. If you watch my previous video about the Sterkowski Newsboy hat, I told the more extended story of the Sterkowski brand itself, but in a nutshell, the company was founded in 1926 by Anna Sterkowska. So next year it's gonna be a 100-year anniversary of the brand, so that's pretty cool if you think about this. Throughout many years, the company stayed in the hands of the same family. They survived loads of different difficult times like the Second World War, Warsaw Uprising, the communism times, the economic collapse. The craftsmanship was passed from generation to generation. I think at the moment the company is run by the 4th generation of Sterkowski family. You're dealing with the actual heritage brand. Poland that's in the hands of the same family throughout a century. That's actually an extra value of the product. By buying the product like that, you support a small heritage business with a great history and making sure that it will survive, hopefully, for another 100 years. That's the pin that came with the hat. You're supposed to put it on your hat, but I think it's also great to put it on your jacket. I will just do it right now. Yeah, so now I think it's more suitable to talk about the Squadron 303. During the Second World War, when the Poland was attacked by Germany and swiftly defeated because the Blitzkrieg, the German attack was very successful and very fast and very powerful. So the Poland were being taken over quite fast. The Polish pilots that managed to survive, they managed to escape occupied Poland. They couldn't fight in the Polish army anymore because the country was occupied. So all they wanted was to join the Allied forces to be able to get back on the airplanes and keep fighting alongside the Allies. However, it wasn't very easy for them. First, they were trying to join French Air Force. Just like Poland, France was also getting conquered very, very fast. And whenever they managed to get any sort of agreement with the French government to use some airport or some airplanes before they were able to finalize the agreement, the airport was already taken over by the German forces. Eventually, France was conquered as well. So then they managed to get to England. So at first, it was quite difficult for them to get into the British military. They were looking down at them a little bit because they were thinking, if they lost at home, how come they're gonna be any good here with our airplanes? Maybe that was a little bit ignorant and short-sighted, but if you think in the historical context, most of people would think the same. If you have some refugees coming from the defeated country, your first thought is gonna be that if they lost at home, they probably not that very good, and airplanes are very valuable assets that you don't want to lose. You don't want to give your airplanes to untrained pilots, but eventually after a while it became a necessity to use Polish pilots, because when Germany attacked England and there was a Battle of Britain, basically England was losing a lot of pilots. They started getting a little bit more desperate. They basically needed soldiers. They decided to basically put some trust into those Polish pilots, and even though the theme of the hat is the Spitfire aircraft, and the Spitfire was the most iconic aircraft of the Second World War and the Royal Air Force, they didn't get the Spitfires. I think the plane they got was the Hawker Hurricane Mark I, if I remember correctly. It was a little bit worse than the Spitfire, but it was vastly better than the plane they used to fly back home. So for Polish pilots, it was a huge upgrade to be able to fly those Hawkers. Literally, the first few days, they were scoring high and getting some kills. So that really gave a lot of confidence to Royal Air Force to actually legitimize the Squadron 303 and let them fight. And it was the highest scoring squadron of the Battle of Britain. I think the kill to death ratio was like 14-1, if I remember correctly. So it was quite successful, very, very successful. So according to the historical record, without the bravery, without the skill and the courage of the Polish pilots, there was a big chance that England wouldn't win the Battle of Britain, and the course of history could go much differently. I think it's a great story. It's very touching and inspiring because it's a great underdog story. It's a story about very highly motivated, patriotic, courageous group of people that basically did whatever they could to get back on the horse, and when they were given opportunity, they actually smashed it. They blew it out of the park. I think that story makes this hat a little bit more special because it makes it a little piece of wearable history on your head. It's a great conversation starter. If you take the hat off and somebody can see the lining and they will ask you what's so special about this hat, why there is this emblem inside and this airplane, you can tell them this story. I think it's wonderful when you have a watch or a hat or any other piece of clothing made with the best materials but also tells some interesting story. So I love stuff like that, so that's why I'm sharing it with you. So if you like this hat, I put the link to the website in the description below. You need to hurry because that's the limited edition. It was launched sometime before me making this video, but maybe if you're lucky and you're gonna act fast, maybe you can still get one for yourself. So yeah, I keep my fingers crossed for you to be able to still get it. If not, they have a huge selections of wonderful other hats, so feel free to browse. Maybe you're gonna find something for yourself. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for today's episode. If you had fun, don't forget to leave that thumbs up and subscribe to my channel because there is more content on the way. And as always, see you in the next one. I have another pilot-inspired hat. This particular one, it's not a newsboy hat. This is like a bomber hat, like a winter hat. And because the winter is coming, and to be honest, it already came and it's quite cold outside, I decided that it's time to take it out of the closet. This hat is actually inspired by the First World War pilot hats. This hat is made from 100% genuine sheepskin with the actual like sheep wool Sherpa lining. We have the tag with the size. This one was double checked by Marta. Very durable, very warm. Let's pop it on my head and let's see how it looks. Okay guys, the winter arrived, so the hard times call for hard measures. This is warm. Let me supplement with proper aviation sunglasses. I think I'm gonna be able to save some money on heating this year. You can also put it up. That's some proper winter gear. You can find this one on the Sterkowski website as well, so if you want, just go for it.